可是龙城首富，郑家大小姐，你们要是敢动，我不会放过你的。
That stinging slap from the city's richest heiress was definitely not the welcome I expected after 7 years on the mountain. But before I was getting smacked by beautiful strangers in the street, my day started with a much more intimate kind of shock. I woke up from a scandalous dream about Master. Instead of punishment, she gave me a marriage contract and a ticket to the city. Before I can even process the fact that I'm a man now, Master decides it's time for me to fly the coop. She says I need to go marry some heiress in the city to fulfill an old promise. I try to argue, but she's got a very persuasive way of saying goodbye.
好好睡啊，就不理我了是吧？亏你是这样的神气！哎，啥情况？谁我口袋空荡荡，我遇到劫匪不成？两位，光天化日之下绑架良家妇男，你们信不信我报警抓你们啊？哎，两位，我报警了啊！哎，我真报警了！我跟你们说话，听到没？
She literally kicks me off the mountain. 7 years of legendary training in medicine and combat, and I'm sent into the world with 0 cash and a warning not to starve. If I fail, I'm not allowed to call her master anymore. Talk about tough love. Fresh off the mountain and broke as a joke, I run straight into a woman who looks exactly like the beauty from my dream. I try to be a gentleman and point out she looks a bit peaky, but she greets me with a stinging slap to the face.
我可是龙城首富，郑家大小姐，你们要是敢动，我不会放过你的。
Miss Zheng Xiaoyuan, the richest heiress in town. She's got a goddess-level face, but a temper that could set the city on fire. She thinks her status scares me, but all I see is a patient who desperately needs my help, and maybe a reality check. These low-life kidnappers think they can drug me and get away with it. They clearly haven't realized that a disciple of Xuanji is immune to their cheap tricks. They want to play rough? Fine by me.
但是药下手了，揍一顿就老实了。
I don't even need to break a sweat to take these clowns down. One by one, they hit the floor, screaming for mercy. It's almost embarrassing how weak they are compared to the training I endured on the mountain. Saving lives is my calling, but I've got bills to pay and a stomach to fill. I hand over the antidote to the stunning woman who just arrived, apparently the little troublemaker's sister-in-law. She's impressive, but business is business.
不客气，一颗药呢，100。好，还有啊，我刚才治他哮喘，一共是2000块。行。
The sister-in-law Song Jingshu seems reasonable, but Xiaoyuan is already looking for reasons to call me a creep instead of a savior. She's lucky my medicine is as good as I say it is, or she'd be back to wheezing in 5 minutes. After pocketing a cool $10,000 from the Zheng family, I thought I'd finally enjoy a decent meal in this city. But the gossip at a local noodle shop hits me harder than a master's kick. I'm sitting there minding my own business when I hear the name of my supposed fiancé. Zhao Shuzhen is getting engaged to some rich kid from the Duan family today. Wait, isn't she supposed to be mine?
她不是我未婚妻吗？怎么和段家少爷结婚？
The shop owner laughs at me, calling me a beggar dreaming of a rich girl. He has no idea. I'm not just a beggar. I'm the man holding the contract that says she belongs to me. Time to go and reclaim what's mine. While I'm heading to crash the party, the hospital confirms exactly what I told the Zheng sisters. My medicine didn't just help. It cured her completely. The doctor is baffled, and now the Zheng family is desperate to find me.
郑小姐，您的身体很健康。
Song Jinshu realizes she let a god-tier doctor walk away. She's smart. She knows a man like me is worth more than any amount of money. She's tracking me down, but I've got a wedding to ruin first. The Zhao family is all smiles, bragging about their match made in heaven and waiting for the elite Zheng family to show up and bless them. They're so full of themselves, it's sickening. I decide to make an entrance they won't forget.
狗屁的天作之合！
I walk right into the middle of their fancy banquet looking like I just crawled out of a dumpster. The guests are horrified, but the Zhao family looks like they've seen a ghost. They know exactly who I am. I pull out the marriage contract signed 20 years ago, right in front of all their high society friends. Zhao Shuzhen looks at me with pure disgust, like I'm some kind of insect she needs to crush.
想复婚，赵夫人，你20年前病重濒死，是我师傅治好了你，并且给了你们赵家滔天的气运，才有了赵家如今的辉煌。然而，这就是你们赵家对救命恩人报答。
She's so obsessed with her status that she's forgotten where it came from. She calls me a beggar, but she's the one who's morally bankrupt. I'm not here because I want her. I'm here to show everyone what a fraud this family is. They want to talk about worth? Let's talk about how the Zhao family repaid the man who saved their lives and gave them their fortune. I remind Mrs. Zhao that she'd be 6 feet under if it wasn't for my master.
赵夫人，你20年前病重濒死，是我师傅治好了你，并且给了你们赵家滔天的气运，才有了赵家如今的辉煌。
The crowd starts whispering. They can see the guilt written all over her face. Ingratitude is a heavy debt, and today, I've come to collect. They think they can just pay me off and move on, but some things aren't for sale. Since they've chosen to break the promise, I'm taking back the luck my master buried in their family 20 years ago. Without that divine protection, their house of cards is going to come crashing down. I perform the ritual right there in the hall.
今日我就替师傅收回埋在你身上20年的气运。
The moment I reclaim the energy, Mrs. Zhao collapses, clutching her heart. She feels the void where her fortune used to be. I tell Shuzhen to save that $1 million for her mother's funeral, she's going to need it. The Zhao family goes into a frenzy, screaming for security to break my limbs and throw me out. I'm ready to teach these thugs a lesson they'll never forget, but then, a voice booms across the room, stopping everyone in their tracks.
我看谁敢动我郑家的人。
It's Zheng Xiaoyuan. She's standing there with Song Jinshu, looking like an avenging angel. She just claimed me as her man in front of the whole city. I guess my luck is just getting started, but what does she really want from me?
林峰可是我的人，你敢动他试试？
Xiaoyuan just claimed me in front of everyone. Duan Zipeng tried to play hero, but she's a lioness, marking her territory. Look at her, standing up for me like that. I'm starting to think being hers might not be such a bad deal after all, especially when it makes these clowns look so pathetic.
郑小姐，你可是荣城首富之女，怎么看得上这个乞丐啊？
But the Zhao family just can't take a hint. Zhao Shuzhen is still screeching about me being a beggar, trying to justify why she dumped a legend like me for a loser like Duan. She really thinks money is the only thing that matters. She has no idea that her family's luck just walked out the door with me. When you trade a diamond for a piece of glass, you shouldn't be surprised when your life starts to shatter. I tell them straight up, Mrs. Zhao's illness isn't just bad luck, it's a divine debt collection. I reclaimed the luck my master gave them 20 years ago, and now nature is taking its course. Song Jinshu is looking at me like I'm some kind of mystical enigma, and honestly, I am.
胡言乱语，郑小姐，她满口风言风语，你是怎么看上她的呀？
Exactly. If you break a vow to a god, don't be surprised when the god stops protecting you. It's a done deal, and no amount of money can buy back the luck they threw away. Duan's old man starts barking next, calling me cheap entertainment. They really think they can bully me just because I'm from the mountains and don't wear a three-piece suit. That is, until Song Jinshu steps back into the ring, looking like a goddess of war.
黎先生是我宋家的座上宾，不是消遣。
The look on their faces is priceless. From beggar to guest of honor in 5 seconds. I should start charging admission for this show, because watching these elitists choke on their own words is the best entertainment in town. Xiaoyuan isn't done yet. She stands tall and issues a warning that sends a shiver through the whole hall. She's putting the entire Zheng family's reputation on the line just to keep these dogs off my back. I've got to admit, having a beautiful heiress as a bodyguard is a vibe I could get used to.
黎先生是我宋家的座上宾，不是消遣。
I was ready to end their bloodline right then and there, but my master Xuanji always said taking lives ruins the vibe and messes with my cultivation. So, I decide to let them rot in their own filth for a bit longer. But I can't leave without giving them a little medical advice.
给你们忠告，提前备好棺材。
A little professional tip from a doctor. They're going to need that casket sooner than they think, and I won't be the one helping them into it. Leaving the Zhao family to rot was satisfying, but now I've got a bigger problem. How to survive in this city without my master's protection. Song Jinshu seems to have a plan though, and it involves turning my medical skills into a business. Now that the banquet drama is over, I need to figure out my next move. Going back to the mountain isn't an option, my master would just kick me off again. I need to make enough cash to buy her silence and prove I can survive in the concrete jungle.
现在回山里肯定会被我那个妖精师傅嫌弃，还不如多赚点钱，到时候直接用钱堵住他的臭嘴。
Song Jinshu is serious about this clinic thing. She offers $1 million per pill for Xiaoyuan's treatment. My brain starts spinning faster than a slot machine. I'm doing the math in my head, and the numbers are looking absolutely beautiful.
一颗药就是100万，那一个月就是1000万，那一年就是6000万。
120 million a year? I'm going to be so rich I can finally buy enough gold to make my master stop calling me a loser. This city is starting to look a lot more like paradise. I made a comment about Song Jinshu being a young widow, and man, Xiaoyuan did not like that. She's got a grip like a vice and a temper to match. She thinks I'm hitting on her sister-in-law, but I was just making a professional observation about her tragic past.
我只是诚心发问，没有别的歪心思。天地可见。
I swear, I was just curious. But Xiaoyuan is like a protective pit bull when it comes to her family. I should probably watch my tongue before she decides to perform surgery on me without anesthesia. Xiaoyuan is acting all stubborn, claiming she only saved me to pay back a favor, but then she drags me off to meet her family. She says her mom wants to see me. I'm starting to think this fake relationship is getting a little too real.
花儿，去哪儿啊？我们这关系好像还没到那个时候吧？
Right, a favor. That's why you're dragging me to your house to meet the parents. I might be from the mountains, but I know a trap when I see one. Still, the Zheng mansion is supposed to be legendary, so why not? We pull up to the Zheng mansion, and it's like something out of a movie. I meet Xiaoyuan's mom, Liu Wangjun. She's stunning and has this aura of power that makes even me feel a bit small. I'm expecting a lecture on social status, but she skips the small talk and goes straight for the knockout question.
林先生，准备什么时候跟圆圆结婚？
Wait, what? I just got here. I haven't even had my tea yet and she's already picking out wedding drapes. These city people really don't waste any time, do they? Liu Wanjun doesn't just ask, she decides. 2 weeks until the wedding, and she's already setting up my clinic. I'm standing there like a deer in headlights, realizing that in this family, the women make the rules and the men just try to keep up.
小峰，这事儿就这么定了，半个月后举行你和圆圆的婚礼。
She even changed how she addresses me. I didn't even get to pick the flavor of the wedding cake. I came here for a business meeting and left with a wife and a mortgage. While I'm dealing with my own marriage crisis, the Song family is falling apart. The old chief is on his deathbed, and even the so-called miracle doctors are giving up. It's a tragic scene, but it's also the kind of challenge I was born for.
爸，你会没事的。刘神医，你不是说我爸至少还有3个月的时间吗？
The old man is giving his final goodbyes, and the atmosphere is heavy. It's a shame these fancy city doctors can't see what's really wrong. If only they knew that the beggar they mocked earlier is the only one who can save him. Song Jinshu finally realizes that the beggar she met at the banquet might be the only person on earth who can save her father. She's desperate, she's determined, and she's heading straight for the Zheng house to find me.
还有一个人能救爸爸。小黄，照顾好爸爸，我马上回。
She's running out of time, and she knows it. I hope she's ready to deal with Xiao Yuan, because things are about to get complicated when she finds out where I've been hiding. After a day of being forced into a marriage and moved into a new room, I found the only thing in this mansion that makes sense. A bed that feels like a cloud. Too bad it belongs to the little troublemaker herself, and she's just caught me colonizing her pillows.
你给我起来，那是我的床。
She's screaming, but I'm staying put. A storm is coming from the Song family that might end my city life early.
对不起，我不知道你们在。
林峰，我有急事想求你帮忙。
I was just trying to get some sleep, but Zheng Xiaoyuan treated her bed like sacred ground. We ended up in a wrestling match that got a little too revealing before Song Jinshu barged in with a life-or-death emergency. The timing was terrible, but Jinshu looked like she was about to collapse. Whatever was happening with her father, it was serious enough to pull me out of a very comfortable bed and back into the chaos of this city. Following Jinshu to the Song mansion, I found the old chief sitting up and devouring a drumstick. Everyone thought it was a miracle, but I saw the truth. His candle was flickering its last light.
回光返照，老爷子撑不过1个小时。
The room went silent. Telling a family their hero has 60 minutes left isn't exactly a great way to make friends, but I don't sugarcoat the truth. Not when death is knocking on the door. Predictably, the experts didn't like a kid from the mountains calling the shots. This Lu guy, supposedly a miracle doctor, looked at me like I was a common street scammer.
能，不过有一个小要求。
Jinshu stood by me though. She'd seen what I did for Xiao Yuan and knew I was their only hope. I didn't need their approval, just a clear path to the patient and a little respect for my craft. They wanted proof of my skills, so I gave them a masterclass in observation. I didn't need a pulse or a scan to see the metal rot in the old man's head.
中医讲究的是望闻问切，望只是第一步，你只是看了病人一眼，你就知道了病情。我看是宋少校提前告诉过你，在这装神弄鬼。
Xiao Yuan was gaping at me like I'd just performed a magic trick. It's not magic, sweetheart. It's just being better than everyone else in the room. I can see what your expensive machines can't. Liu tried to claim I was just reciting a script Jinshu gave me. I had to remind him that some people are born with talent, and others just get old and stay mediocre.
你确实不可能，你没有慧根，你这辈子医学水平就这样了。
The old man, Song Lijun, had more sense than all of them combined. He knew he was dying, and he was willing to bet on the arrogant kid. He silenced the room and gave me the green light. The surgery Liu was terrified of? I didn't even need a scalpel. I pulled out the needles and prepared to show them the sky-piercing finger, a technique they thought was just a legend.
天一九针，居然又是失传针法，看来我真是小看这小。
I could feel Liu's jaw hitting the floor. Watching a miracle doctor realize he's a fraud in real time is almost as satisfying as saving a life. I moved with precision, weaving energy through the needles until the job was done. While the family was weeping over the old chief's unconscious body, I found a leftover chicken leg. Saving lives is hard work, and a man's gotta eat when the opportunity strikes.
天大地大，吃饭最大。你没给我吃晚饭，我快饿死。
Xiao Yuan was losing her mind, thinking I'd killed the man because he hadn't opened his eyes yet. She really needs to learn some patience and trust the process. I don't fail. Just as Song Hong was about to have me arrested, the room erupted. The old man didn't just wake up. He came back from the brink with a roar, proving my needles never miss.
爸，爸，我就知道你没事。
The atmosphere flipped from a funeral to a festival in seconds. I just kept chewing my chicken, watching the chaos. I told them I could do it, but city people always have to see it to believe it. Xiao Yuan was acting all relieved, but she tried to play it off as concern for her own medicine. She's about as transparent as a window, but I'll let her keep her pride for now.
奇怪，我那么担心臭流氓干什么？一定是他出事，就没人给我配药。
Sure, Xiao Yuan. It's definitely just about the pills. Whatever helps you sleep at night. I know you're starting to realize that having me around is the best thing that ever happened to you. Gratitude is nice, but I've got a clinic to open and a master to pay off. I wasn't about to leave without my fee, even if Xiao Yuan thought I was being tacky for asking.
林先生，这是1000万，如果您觉得不够，我立马让家里再打钱。
10 million for a few needles? City life is a gold mine. I'm starting to think my master was the one who was poor, not me. This kind of cash makes the mountain look very far away. Then came the most hilarious part. Liu, the man who called me a scammer an hour ago, was suddenly on his knees begging to be my student. Talk about a complete reversal of fortune.
林先生，我苦求医学一生，却不及先生的一点皮毛，不知先生愿不愿意收我为徒？
I told him he was too old and untalented for the real secrets, but I could use someone to sweep the floors at my new hall. A miracle doctor as a janitor? Now that is a marketing strategy. To celebrate, Song Hong took us to a 5-star hotel. He told me to order whatever I wanted. He clearly didn't know that mountain air gives you a mountain-sized appetite that expensive menus can't scare off.
这个，啊，这个，还有这个，还有这个，来点，还有这个都。
I ordered the whole menu while Xiaoyuan looked like she was about to faint from embarrassment. If they're paying, I'm eating. Besides, martial arts burns a lot of calories, and I was starving. I cleaned every plate, leaving the staff and Xiaoyuan in total shock. But the real shock came when the bill arrived. $1 million for lunch? Even I had to blink twice at that price tag.
到账100万元。
Song Hong paid up without a flinch. I'm starting to like these city people and their deep pockets. But as I walked out, I couldn't shake the feeling that my new wealth was about to attract some very dangerous attention. Who's gonna come knocking first, the rivals I've humiliated, or my master looking for her cut?
都怪林峰那个臭乞丐，要不是因为他诅咒，我妈怎么会这样？
I had barely stepped out of that $1 million lunch before the rumors started flying. Zhao Shujin, that bitter ex of mine, was already spinning a web of lies. Her mother's heart was failing, and instead of looking at their own karma, she was pointing fingers at me, claiming my words were a death sentence. She really thinks my curse is the reason for their downfall, but the truth is, their own greed is what's killing them. Sure, blame the mountain boy. While she was busy playing the victim, the Duan family was desperately hunting for miracle Dr. Lu, hoping he could fix what they broke. They heard he was at a place called Jisheng Hall, and they were ready to crawl there if they had to. I decided to set up shop at Jisheng Hall, but I wasn't about to do it with a target on my back. I threw on an apprentice's uniform to keep things low-key, but Zheng Xiaoyuan caught me immediately. She looked at me like I'd lost my mind, wondering why the man who saved a chief was suddenly playing dress-up in a clinic.
不是，我说你穿着药童的衣服干什么？
I told her it was all about the money. Having the legendary Lu work for free while I handle the business? That's just smart management. She called me a crook, but I call it efficiency. Little did she know, the real show was about to start. Just as I was enjoying a quiet moment, the trash walked in. Zhao Shuzhen knocked over our milk tea like she owned the place and thought $100 would make it go away. She looked at Xiaoyuan with such disdain, acting like a few bills could buy her dignity back. I took the cash without a second thought. $100 for a ruined tea is a great profit margin. But money can't buy a spot at the front of the line, and I was about to make sure she learned that the hard way. The Duan and Zhao families thought their names were a VIP pass to skip the queue. They tried to push past the ordinary people waiting for help, but I stood my ground. In my clinic, the only thing that matters is the order of arrival, not how much you think your family name is worth.
都给我闭嘴！我们可是龙城数一数二的段赵名门两家，你们这些便宜的杂碎，拿什么跟我们比啊？
The crowd loved it. Watching these arrogant elites get told off by a clinic boy was the best entertainment they'd had all day. Zhao Shuzhen looked like she was about to explode, but she had no choice but to swallow her pride. Xiaoyuan stepped up to defend me, warning them not to touch her man. She's got fire in her, I'll give her that. But then Duan Zipeng dropped a bombshell, claiming the Zheng family was on the brink of bankruptcy. The looks on their faces shifted from arrogance to a cruel, desperate triumph.
郑家，那不是荣城首富吗？我们居然在这么小小的寄生堂见到这么多的豪门贵族。
I could see the worry in Xiaoyuan's eyes. She didn't know about the crisis, and these vultures were relishing her shock. I had to keep her calm. Their threats were just noise to me, but for her, it was her whole world shaking. The chaos inside the clinic was reaching a boiling point. Zhao Shuzhen was screaming for miracle Dr. Lu, convinced that he was her only hope. She had no idea that the man she was insulting was the only one who could actually help her mother. She was practically foaming at the mouth, demanding that I be kicked out of my own clinic. She really thought she could bully a medicine boy in front of the legendary Lu. But then Lu did something that turned her world upside down. He bowed to me with total respect.
我想大家都误会了，我才是寄生堂的药童，而林先生才是寄生堂的老板。
The silence in the room was deafening. Zhao Shuzhen looked like she'd been struck by lightning. The beggar she despised was actually the master of the man she came to beg for help. Talk about a complete reversal of fortune. The truth was finally coming out, and it was hitting them like a freight train. Lu admitted he was powerless to save the old chief, and that I was the one who performed the miracle. The crowd was buzzing, and the Duan family looked like they wanted the floor to swallow them whole.
老首长的病，老夫束手无策，是林先生出手才将老首长的病彻底治好。
Every eye in the room was on me. The skepticism was gone, replaced by a mixture of awe and terror from those who had crossed me. I just stood there, letting the reality of their situation sink in. Just as they were trying to deny the truth, the heavy artillery arrived. A military escort, a gleaming car, and the man who should have been dead, Song Lejun himself, walking tall and looking stronger than ever. He wasn't there for a checkup, he was there to settle a score.
听说你们在质疑林先生的医术， 我这个患者在这里，够不够为他证明？
The old chief's voice was like thunder. The Duan family chairman was reduced to a stuttering mess, forced to bow his head in front of the man he'd just called a fraud. It was the ultimate face-slapping moment, and I enjoyed every second of it. The old chief didn't stop there. He declared my medical skills supreme, and essentially signed a death warrant for Zhao Shuzhen's mother by confirming that if I couldn't save her, no one could. They left the clinic like beaten dogs, their last hope crushed under the weight of their own arrogance.
既然林先生说了你母亲的病无药可治，我想这世界上没有人治得了。节哀吧。
Accepting your fate is hard when you've spent your life thinking you're above it. But the Zhao and Duan families were officially finished in this town. The Song family support had sealed their doom, and my clinic was now the most powerful spot in Rongcheng. With the trash cleared out, the old chief approached me with a new proposition. The city lord's daughter was in trouble, and he wanted me to step in. He promised a massive reward and a surprise that he claimed I wouldn't be able to resist.
我这次来是想请女婿救一个城主的女儿，报酬嘛不会低，对你来说还有一份意外的惊喜。
A surprise from a fox like him? This city just keeps getting more interesting. I guess I'm heading to the city lord's manor next, but I can't shake the feeling that this surprise is going to be more than I bargained for. What could be so big that even the old chief is being mysterious? I guess I'll find out soon enough. But one thing is for sure, the real game is only just beginning.
不会带团队，就只能一个人干到死。大事小事一把抓，最后累成大傻瓜。
The surprise the old chief promised? Turns out, it's the sheer joy of being the boss. While the rest of the world thinks I'm just some lucky beggar from the mountains, I've got the most famous medical titans in the country running around like my personal assistants. It's a beautiful sight, really. Exactly. I talk. The employees work their lives away. That's the secret to driving a Bentley while everyone else is sweating the small stuff. I'm just getting started with this boss life, and I think I'm going to like it here.
今日是开业的第一天，有打折优惠，以后肯定会更好的。特别是林先生您亲自研制的那几款特效药，即使在原本的价格上增加到100%，也都会被人抢着要的。
But being a boss isn't just about the luxury. It's about having the final say. Old Lu was already counting the profits from our opening day, and he wanted to jack up the prices of my specialty medicines. He thinks because people are desperate, we should bleed them dry. I shut that down immediately. High prices are a burden for ordinary people, and I'm not here to be another vulture. I told him we keep the prices low, we'll make our real money from the ones who can actually afford to pay for excellence. Song Hong was still trying to wrap his head around how a clinic boy like me could afford a luxury lifestyle, but the real shock came when he realized who was actually wearing the apprentice uniforms in my shop. He looked at them like he was seeing ghosts from a textbook.
赵老、秦老、孙老、李老，这4位可是中医界的泰斗啊，活化石啊！峰哥，他们也要给你打工啊
Living legends? To me, they're just 4 old men who need to learn that their status doesn't mean a thing if they can't actually cure a patient. They're here to learn from the best, even if they don't know it yet. The Titans weren't exactly thrilled about taking orders from a kid. They started throwing their weight around, boasting about their decades of experience and how many lives they'd saved. I decided to give them a reality check they'd never forget, without even touching their wrists.
一个个毫无慧根，也想做我林峰的徒弟。你老寒腿可手不止，你三高缠身药不能停，你骨质疏松，你心肺衰竭。
I rattled off their hidden ailments like I was reading a grocery list. By the time I mentioned their more embarrassing nighttime issues, the room went so quiet you could hear a needle drop. Arrogance is a lot harder to maintain when someone is listing your medical failures in public. Once they realized I could see right through their expert facades, the pride vanished instantly. They were desperate for a cure, and I was ready to make a deal that would benefit my clinic. I wasn't looking for students, but I could always use some free labor.
你们4个以后每天轮流到寄生堂免费坐诊，收不了徒嘛，但表现好的话，小爷我心情好了，可以指导你们一些。
They thanked me like I was their savior. 5 legends working for free? My skills are priceless, so honestly, they're still getting the better end of the bargain. Now, Jixing Hall is officially the most powerful medical center in the city. The high of my medical victory didn't last long. I walked into the Zheng mansion and found Auntie Lu looking like the weight of the world had finally crushed her. She didn't waste any time with pleasantries, revealing the rot that was eating away at the family business.
小峰，我们郑氏集团确实遇到了很大的资金漏洞，可能濒临破产。你和圆圆没有感情基础，如果你不想娶她，阿姨也不强求。
She even offered to call off the marriage, thinking she was protecting me from their sinking ship. It's funny she's trying to let me go just when I'm finally starting to feel like I belong here. She clearly doesn't know who she's dealing with. Auntie was ready to divide the scraps of their fortune and beg me to take care of Xiao Yuan. She looked so defeated, acting like she was preparing for a funeral instead of a business crisis. I couldn't just sit there and watch her give up on everything she'd built.
小峰，对不起，我会把郑氏集团的资金分成2份，一份给锦树，一份给你。我希望你好好的照顾照顾圆圆。
I told her to keep her money and stop acting like it's the end of the world. I didn't come down from the mountain to watch my future family go broke. If a financial gap is the problem, I'll just have to build a bridge big enough to cross it. Jinshu was the first to back me up, but Auntie still looks skeptical. The deficit they're facing is astronomical, something no ordinary wealth could touch. I had to make it clear that I wasn't just helping as a friend, I was doing this as the man who's going to lead this family.
果然是我看中的人。结束，妈和你说的话都是认真的。只要你遇到一个值得你真心托付的男人，就去争取。
That got a laugh out of her, the first one I'd heard in days. I've got the mother-in-law's approval. Now I just need a few $1 billion and a way to keep Xiaoyuan from doing something reckless while I fix her mess. Auntie went up to rest, leaving me alone with sister-in-law Jinshu. She's been the backbone of this family for too long, supporting 2 households while everyone else falls apart. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of man would ever be good enough for someone as strong as her.
放心，有我在，这个家塌不了。
I promised to protect this house, but when I asked what kind of man she'd choose for herself, she turned bright red. She scrambled away before I could even check if she had a fever. It's cute, really the fierce soldier getting flustered by a few words of praise. I was still grinning about Jinshu's escape when the front door burst open. Xiaoyuan stumbled in, swaying on her feet and looking like she'd just lost a war. I thought she was just drunk, but then she dropped a bomb that changed everything.
林峰，我要结婚了。
Married? To who? I'm out here fighting off bankruptcy and medical titans to save her family, and she's out there making wedding plans with someone else? This isn't just a twist, it's a total ambush. Who the hell thinks they can take what belongs to me?
我当然不愿意，我才不要嫁给那些自以为是的人呢。我想要嫁给你。
I was still reeling from the bombshell she dropped. Married? To who? I've been out here fighting off medical titans and bankruptcy to save her family, and this troublemaker thinks she can just walk away and marry some ghost? I looked at her, drunk and crying, and realized she actually thought she was protecting me by pushing me away. She looked like her heart was being ripped out, but she was still trying to be the martyr. It's cute that she thinks she has a choice in the matter when I've already decided she's mine.
现在郑家的资金链出了问题，只有联姻才能有一线的生机。
The reality of the Zheng family's collapse had finally broken her spirit. She thinks money is the only language the world speaks, and since she thinks I'm just some broke mountain boy, she's ready to sell herself to a bank balance to keep her mother's legacy alive. She actually had the nerve to say she wanted to marry me, and then called me broke in the same breath. I didn't know whether to laugh at her honesty or stay mad at her lack of faith in my abilities. Seeing her willing to throw her life away for her family, it changed things. I used to think this second miss was just a spoiled brat, but she's got a spine of steel and a heart that's way too big for her own good. It made me want to crush whoever was forcing her into this corner even more.
我想把第一次给你。
She was serious. She wanted to give me her first time as a parting gift before her forced marriage. But I don't take pity offerings, and I definitely don't let my women sacrifice themselves for nothing. She was so desperate to belong to me that she was ready to give up everything right there. I had to lean in and remind her that I'm always 10 steps ahead of everyone else. I've already claimed what's mine, even if she only remembers it as a beautiful, hazy dream.
在哪儿？峰哥，别说话，疼我。
I let her believe it was a dream for now. It's better that way. Tomorrow, I'm going to show her exactly how much power her broke man can actually command in this city. The next morning, the hangover hit her, but the marriage threat was still looming. She was still trying to play the tragic heroine, begging me to spend more time with her before she was sold off. I had to shut that nonsense down immediately.
城主府，林峰，你说你能帮郑家，不会是靠救城主的女儿换取高额的酬金吧？
I told her to get dressed. It was time to stop crying and start solving problems. I had a plan that would make the Zheng family's financial gap look like pocket change. I dragged her straight to the city lord's manor. She thought I was insane trying to save her family by playing doctor to a girl that every famous expert in the country had already failed to cure. But I could see what they couldn't.
这顾薇薇没病，所以查不出来啊。
The look on Song Hong and Xiaoyuan's faces was priceless. They wanted a medical diagnosis. I was looking at something much darker. If money is the problem, I'll just make the most powerful man in the city owe me his life. Inside the manor, the atmosphere was thick with arrogance and desperation. The city lord's wife looked at me like I was a stray cat that wandered in. I didn't come here to be humble, I came here to state facts. In my world, age doesn't mean a thing if you're still blind to the truth.
林先生，希望你此言非虚啊。郑家的事儿呢，我也略闻一二。如果你能治好微微的病，我一定让郑家东山再起啊！
I warned them that a fatal disaster was coming for their entire house. They called it a curse, I called it a forecast. And right on cue, the scream started. The chaos erupted before they could even finish insulting me. Their unconscious daughter had suddenly turned into a violent beast, attacking the staff with unnatural strength. The nanny came running in, looking like she'd seen a ghost.
不好了，城主夫人，小姐她杀人了。
While the city lord and his wife were busy crying and panicking, I was already moving. This wasn't a job for a doctor, it was a job for a master of the arts. I saw the black energy swirling around her, and it was hungry. The city lord was desperate enough to offer me his own position just to save his daughter. I don't care about titles, they're just a headache. But I do care about getting paid. I made sure he knew the price of my intervention was the survival of the Zheng family.
城主这样的苦差事还是您自己做吧啊！我救人，你出钱就行。
I stepped into the room and unleashed a command that echoed through the spirit realm. The evil spirit inside her fought back, but it was nothing compared to the power I brought down from the mountain. The exorcism took a dangerous turn when the girl tried to throw herself off the third-floor balcony. The mother's scream nearly broke my eardrums, but I was already in the air. I caught her mid-fall, pinning the dark energy down with a single strike. I landed with her in my arms, the evil spirit finally banished. She looked up at me, confused and dazed, like she'd just woken up from a nightmare and found a hero waiting for her. Once the danger passed, I realized I was still holding the city lord's daughter. She was clinging to me like I was her only lifeline. Xiaoyuan, however, looked like she was ready to start a second war right there in the hallway.
袁姐，刚才峰哥也太厉害了，他那个手指直接就呼，几下子那个玩意儿。
I couldn't help but smirk. Jealousy looks much better on her than those tears from last night. I let the girl go, but I made sure to remind Xiaoyuan who the real boss was here. After cleaning up the mess, I had to explain the reality of the situation to the city lord. This wasn't a random haunting. His entire manor was being systematically poisoned by dark energy, and his daughter was just the primary target used to destroy him from the inside out.
就发现你们城主府阴气环绕，顾威的房间最为严重，有人要借你们女儿的手灭掉你们整个城主府。
The realization hit them like a ton of bricks. They weren't just dealing with a sick child, they were in the middle of a high-stakes assassination plot, and I was the only one who could see the strings. I handed over a pouch containing the evidence of the mastermind behind the curse. The city lord went from skeptical to fanatical in a heartbeat. He didn't just offer me a reward, he pledged the entire power of his office to my command.
从今日起，城主府誓死追随您，只要您呐一声令下，我顾某定当鞠躬尽瘁。
He handed me an unlimited black card like it was a mere business card. Suddenly, the broke mountain boy was the most influential man in Rongcheng. I looked at Xiaoyuan, who was staring at me like I'd just grown a second head. With the city lord personally stepping in to handle the Zheng family's crisis, the forced marriage was officially dead. Xiaoyuan was finally safe, and her family's legacy was secure. But as I looked at the black mist still clinging to the shadows of the city, I knew this was just the beginning.
手无限额的黑卡，虽然家里跟郑家差远，但这一出手倒是慷慨。
The immediate crisis is over, but someone is playing a much bigger game, and they've just realized I'm the one standing in their way. I've got the city lord in my pocket now, and it's time to find out who's really pulling the strings. The hunt is on.
这是怎么回事？短短几日，你就离开了我，就连段氏也被各方打压，摇摇欲坠。
She's still playing hard to get. Time to remind her who the hero is. She looked at me with those wide, innocent eyes, but we both know she's already mine. She can play the damsel in distress all she wants, but in this city, I'm the only one holding the keys to her kingdom. While I was busy dealing with Xiaoyuan's ego, the trash I threw out was rotting in the corner. Zhao Shuzhen, my pathetic ex-fiancée, was at her mother's grave, crying about the empire I dismantled in a single weekend. She lost everything, and she's looking for someone to blame. She wasn't alone in her misery. Duan Zipeng, that arrogant brat who thinks a tailored suit makes him a king, was right there whispering poison into her ear. They actually think they can still reach me from the gutter they're living in.
这是怎么回事？短短几日，你就离开了我，就连段氏也被各方打压，摇摇欲坠。
They're dreaming of tearing me to pieces, but they're terrified of the old chief's shadow. Little do they know, the old chief is the least of their worries if they decide to cross me again. The Duan family thinks they found a golden ticket. They've crawled under the wing of some mysterious figure who's supposedly pulling the strings in the city lord's manor. They're so desperate to climb back up that they're willing to sell their souls to a ghost.
不是顾城主，是一位已经全部掌控了顾家的大人。
They think they're standing above everyone else now, just because they found a bigger bully to hide behind. It's cute how confident people get when they think they found a shortcut to power. To get her revenge, Shuzhen was ready to sign away her life. The Duan family was playing her like a fiddle, and she was dancing to the tune of her own hatred, completely blind to the trap they were setting.
全转让协议上签字，我帮你转交就可以了。
She signed it without a second thought. She thinks a piece of paper and a mysterious backer will change the fact that she's a loser. All she did was hand over her last cent to a family of snakes. Zipeng wanted to prove his worth by taking me out before their lord even had to move. He sent the underground's top cleaner after me. I hope the guy is better at his job than Zipeng is at managing his own dignity.
我已经派了道上第一杀手，想想快，你就能将林峰的头当球。
They're calling me total trash while I'm living rent-free in their heads. I can't wait to see the look on the killer's face when he realizes he's the one being cleaned up. Back at the Zheng villa, the air was a lot sweeter. I decided it was time to collect my reward from Xiaoyuan. I've done the work, saved her family, and now I want the prize she's been teasing me with.
郑小媛啊，天都黑了， 你还没想好怎么报答我？
She told me to wait 10 minutes. 10 minutes for a surprise? I've waited years on a mountain. 10 minutes is nothing for what she's about to give me. I could already feel the tension rising. I counted every second. When the time was up, I pushed the door open, expecting a warm welcome. Instead, she hit me with the oldest trick in the book, trying to catch me off guard.
小声点，你吵到我老公。
My heart skipped a beat, but then I saw that mischievous glint in her eye. She was playing games again, trying to see if she could actually make me jealous. She's lucky I have a sense of humor. I wasn't in the mood for riddles. I made it clear that I'm the only man allowed in her life, and anyone else would be sent straight to hell. She finally dropped the act and surrendered to the moment.
他们要是敢坏小爷好事，小爷我送他去见阎王。
She told me to do as I wished. That was all the permission I needed. I'm not a patient man when it comes to what's mine, and I was going to make sure she remembered this night. The next morning, she looked like she'd been through a storm. I had to remind her that playing with fire gets you burned. I was a bit rough, but she needed to learn who the master of this house is.
下次你要再整这些有的没的，我只会更用力。
She whispered that she wouldn't dare do it again. Good. I like it when she's obedient. But I could see the shock in her eyes. She didn't realize a mountain boy could have this much stamina. Word of my skills spread fast. Suddenly, I had 5 legendary divine doctors following me around like lost puppies. I was trying to teach them the basics of the vessel corroding powder, but they were slower than I expected.
第一针刺膻中穴，稳住心脉，护住气海，莫让毒邪攻心。
Wrong. I had to bark at them like a drill sergeant. If these are the best doctors in the country is in serious trouble. Xiao Yuan was just standing there, staring at me like I was a god. Just when I thought I could relax, the city lord's daughter, Gu Weiwei, showed up. I saved her from a dark curse, and apparently, she woke up with a very specific idea of how to thank me personally.
风哥哥，我把我自己嫁给你，报答救命之恩吧。
I've got one fiancé trying to kill me, and another one trying to claim me. My life is getting crowded. Xiao Yuan's face turned redder than a beet the second the words left Weiwei's mouth. This is going to be a mess. Weiwei wasn't backing down. She saw me as her hero, her savior. But Xiao Yuan wasn't about to let her prize be stolen by some city lord's daughter. She stepped up and marked her territory with a wedding announcement.
我跟他已经在一起了，而且月底呢就结婚了，欢迎你来啊！
A wedding at the end of the month? That was news to me, but I didn't mind. Let them fight over me. But as I watched them, I felt a chill. The lord the Duans mentioned is still out there, and he's not going to let this wedding happen without a fight. The real battle is just beginning, and I have a feeling the city is about to burn.
我跟他已经在一起了，而且月底呢就结婚了，欢迎你来啊！
The wedding announcement was out, but the air in the room was thicker than a funeral shroud. Zheng Xiaoyuan was marking her territory like a lioness, while Gu Weiwei, the city lord's daughter, was playing a much more dangerous game. Weiwei didn't flinch. Instead of a fight, she offered a sisterhood that smelled like a trap. I just stood there, wondering how my life got this crowded with women who want to claim me. While the 2 women were negotiating my future, Weiwei pulled me aside for a private chat. She needed a favor, and before I could even name my price, she hit me with a surprise attack, a kiss that caught me completely off guard.
我是你哥，你说话就说话呀，你听我的。
She called it foreign etiquette, but I knew better. She was testing the waters, trying to see how much of a good man I really was. Little did she know, playing with fire is my specialty. The flirting was cut short by a much colder greeting. A sniper's bullet shattered the window, turning our little romantic spat into a life-or-death struggle in an instant.
风哥哥，是子弹，有人要杀我们！
They really thought a piece of lead could stop me. It was almost insulting. I didn't just dodge the attack, I caught the message loud and clear. I stood over the assassin, showing him exactly what happens when you try to hunt a god. I crushed the bullet with my bare hands, letting the metal shards fall like the hopes of whoever sent him.
也是，风哥哥，你可是能徒手捏碎子弹的人呢。
Crushing that bullet was a warning to the shadows. If Zhao Shuzhen and Duan Zipeng wanted a war, I was more than happy to burn their world down. With the assassins dealt with, I went back to my little troublemaker Xiao Yuan. She was worried about her family business and actually wanted me to sit in a boring office as chairman to help her mother.
林峰，要不你来接任这个董事长吧，这样妈妈还能轻松点。
I'm a man of the mountains, not a man of the boardroom. I'd much rather spend my time eating, drinking, and being with her than looking at spreadsheets. Our intimate moment was short-lived when the door was practically kicked off its hinges. Song Hong burst in, his face pale with a kind of terror that only comes from losing someone important.
峰哥，我姐姐出事了，你一定得救她。
Song Jinshu was missing. The military woman who usually had everything under control was now the one in the crosshairs, and time was already running out. I didn't need a search party. My instincts told me exactly where the danger lay. I promised to bring her back, and Song Hong was so desperate he was ready to serve me for 3 lifetimes.
只要你把我姐救回来，我下辈子、下辈子都给你当领保小。
I told him to keep his mouth shut and stay quiet. I don't need a sidekick. I need to find Jinshu before the poison in the air claims her. I moved like a shadow through the outskirts, reaching the scene just as the light was fading. Jinshu was barely conscious, her system flooded with a toxin that was meant to do more than just kill.
李先生，帮帮我！
Those bastards had drugged her. My blood was boiling, but I had to keep my hands steady. If I failed here, there wouldn't be enough left of those kidnappers to bury. In her delirium, the mask of the cold soldier finally slipped away. She thought she was crossing over and decided to confess the one thing she'd been hiding from everyone, including herself.
我是不是快死了？否则我怎么会看见林峰那个让我不受控制深深爱上的男人？
Hearing those words made my heart skip a beat, but I couldn't let her go. Not like this. I had to pull her back from the edge, even if it meant using every bit of my chi. The poison was gone, but the physical wounds were deep and jagged. Jinshu had completed her mission even while bleeding out. The problem was, the injury was in a very sensitive spot near her heart.
嫂嫂，你的伤口离心脏很近，必须马上处理。
I'm a doctor first, but even I have to admit, treating a woman like her in this state was going to be a test of my absolute willpower. I had to keep my mind on the medicine and off her exquisite body. Every touch was a battle against my own instincts, but I promised her a recovery without a single bit of pain.
嫂嫂，你说什么话呢？就算没有麻药，我也不会让你感觉到一丁点疼痛。
I focused my energy, mending her flesh and bone in seconds. To her, it was a miracle. To me, it was just another day of protecting the people who belonged to me. The wound vanished as if it were never there, leaving her skin flawless again. Jinshu looked at me like I was some kind of celestial being descended from the heavens.
我的伤真的好了，林先生，你是神仙下凡吗？
I'm no deity, just a man who knows how to handle his business. But as we prepared to leave, I realized she had one more stop to make. What was so important that she had to risk her life in these woods before heading home?
就林峰那个乡野村夫，我派出去的可是道上第一杀手，估计现在尸体都凉透了。
While I waited for Jinshu to finish her mysterious business in those woods, those cockroaches in the city were already celebrating my funeral. Zhao Shuzhen and that snake Duanzi Peng were practically picking out their victory outfits, convinced I was nothing but a memory. They really have a talent for fiction. Too bad for them, I don't die that easily, and I definitely don't stay cold for long. They have no idea that the man they sent to kill me is the one who's currently decorating the forest floor.
老首长宋家宋景书已经被大人设计弄死。宋立军听到消息，当场吐血身亡。宋家没有了主持人，咱们更不用正眼瞧一眼。
But the plot was thicker than their skulls. They claimed to have the city lord's daughter under control and the Song family neutralized. It was a bold move, too bad they were playing a game they didn't understand with people they couldn't touch. They were so confident that the Song family was leaderless and broken. Little did they know, Jinshu was alive and well, and I was about to show them exactly what happens when you try to take over my city. While the villains were dreaming of power, Xiaoyuan was having a nightmare about me. I could feel her panic even from the woods, a cold sweat breaking over her as she woke up screaming my name. She knew the danger was closer than anyone realized.
是啊，刘爷，资金的窟窿呢已经解决了，后续的工作呀，要循序渐进的才行。你也别把身子熬坏了。
Song Hong tried to reassure her, but Xiaoyuan's instincts were sharp. She knew that if I wasn't back yet, something was wrong. Her fear was the only thing in that house that was actually grounded in reality. Xiaoyuan was trying to explain my abilities to her mother, telling her I wasn't just a doctor but a Taoist who could see the future. Her mother thought it was a joke, but the only joke was how much they were underestimating the man who was about to save them from total ruin. The nightmare became a reality when the Duan family decided to stop hiding. They marched into the Zheng Manor like they already owned the place, announcing the end of an era and the start of their own greedy takeover.
刘董事长，正是现在只剩个空壳，我们今天来是和你谈收购细节。
They called the Zheng family an empty shell, thinking they could just walk in and take everything. They didn't realize that as long as I'm breathing, the Zheng family has a foundation they can't even begin to crack. I saw that coward Duan Zipeng putting his filthy hands on Xiaoyuan. He thought he could bully her just because I wasn't there to break his fingers. Every touch he forced on her was another second I'd spend making him regret being born. The old man was even worse, physically shoving the contract at my mother-in-law and pushing her around. Watching him bully a woman twice his age made my blood boil. They were acting like kings in a kingdom that was about to crumble into dust.
卖不卖，可不是你说了算的。今天我把合同都带来了，你不签也得签。
Xiaoyuan screamed as they pushed her mother, but the Zheng family wouldn't break. They stood their ground, even when the odds were stacked against them. I was proud of them, but I was also ready to end this farce. Zhao Shuzhen was practically dancing on my grave, telling Xiaoyuan I was gone for good. She wanted to break Xiaoyuan's spirit, to make her feel completely alone in a world full of predators.
对了，林峰他死了，死得透透的。
Xiaoyuan refused to believe it, but the doubt was starting to creep in. They were using my absence as a weapon, trying to crush her hope before I could make my grand entrance. They were so busy bullying women that they forgot I was still out there. I was finishing up business with Jinshu, handing over the evidence that would blow their little coup wide open. The city lord wasn't gone. He was just waiting for the right moment.
我要把这个交给顾城主。城主已经告诉我了，如果不是因为你，我们根本就发现不了有人想要破坏荣城的安宁。
Jinshu knew I wasn't just doing this for the money. I have a code, and those trash families had crossed every line I have. It was time to show them what justice looks like when it's delivered by a god. I've had enough of the fresh air and mountain views. it was time to head back to the city and take out the trash. My master taught me to be lazy, but he also taught me to never let a piece of garbage stay in my house for too long.
我们还要去收拾那些臭鱼烂虾。
City life is complicated, but I miss the simplicity of a good fight. I was ready to trade the quiet of the woods for the screams of my enemies. Back at the manor, the lies were piling up. Duan was playing his final card, claiming the city lord had been replaced. He wanted them to believe there was no one left to call for help, no one left to save the Zheng family from his greed.
因为现在根本就没有顾城主，整个荣城都已经是我们大人的囊中之物。
He thought he had the whole city in his pocket. He was so busy gloating about his lord that he didn't notice the shadow growing behind him. His reign was about to be the shortest in history. The threats were getting disgusting. Duan Zipeng and his father were looking at Xiao Yuan and her mother like they were prizes to be shared. They think they've won, but they've just signed their own death warrants. I'm almost there, and when I arrive, the price for touching my family will be more than they can pay.
敬酒不吃吃罚酒，刘董事长，守寡多年，日子一定过得很寂寞吧？要不，老哥陪你再激情一把。
They have no idea that the peasant they dismissed is about to turn their world into a graveyard. Are they ready for the storm that's about to hit? Or will they just keep laughing until I rip the smiles off their faces?
爸，你宠幸了老的，小的好像不高兴了呀。
The storm didn't just hit, it made landfall right in the Zheng's living room. I arrived to find the Duan family acting like they'd already won the lottery, treating my family like property they could just divide up. Duan Zipeng's mouth was moving, but all I heard was a dead man talking. Song Hong tried to step up to protect them, but these cowards brought muscle to a conversation about contracts, throwing him out like trash. While the men were playing thugs, Zhao Shuzhen was busy being a vulture. She couldn't wait to tell Xiao Yuan that I was the reason for their downfall, calling me a jinx while she stood on the ruins she helped create.
林峰现在啊是个灾星，把你们家弄到了现在的下场。
She really thought she could rewrite the script and make me the villain. She's about to find out that the jinx is the only thing standing between her and a very dark future. The desperation in the room was thick enough to choke on. My mother-in-law, Liu Wanjun, was ready to sacrifice her life just to keep her dignity intact against these predators. They thought they had pushed us to the edge of the cliff. She was ready to die to protect the family name. Little did she know, the man who would make sure she never had to shed a tear again was standing right behind the door. The air in the room turned ice cold the moment I stepped through the door. The look on the Duan father's face was worth every second of the hike back from the mountains. They thought I was a ghost, but I'm the living nightmare they never saw coming.
阿姨，这世上还没人能杀得了我。接下来，你好好看着我为你报仇。
I promised my mother-in-law a show, and I never miss a premiere. It was time to stop the talking and start the breaking. I could see the terror finally starting to bubble up in their greedy eyes. Duan Zipeng was shaking so hard I thought he'd fall apart. He tried to hide behind his mysterious lord, thinking a name I'd never heard of would somehow save his neck from the debt he owed me.
你好大的胆子！你知道我们背后的靠山是谁吗？
He was screaming for help from a man who was already halfway to hell. It's pathetic how people cling to shadows when the sun finally comes out to burn them. Jinshu arrived right on cue, carrying a little gift for our guests. They were so proud of their lord, so we decided to bring him to the party, or at least, what was left of him in that creepy bag.
就你这点小伎俩，林先生早就看出来了，并提前设好了埋伏，等着你们一个个跳进来，一网打尽。
The silence that followed was deafening. Watching their hope vanish, along with their backer's life, was the highlight of my week. I'd planned this since the moment I saw through their pathetic scheme. Zhao Shuzhen's loyalty lasted about as long as a snowflake in a furnace. The moment she realized I held all the cards, she was on her knees, throwing her partner in crime under the bus, without a second thought.
对不起，是我有眼不识泰山，都是被那个段子炮给蛊惑了。
She called it being misled. I call it being a snake. She thought a few tears and a fake apology would make me forget the months of insults she'd hurled at me. Then came the most delusional move in history. This woman, who had treated me like dirt, actually had the nerve to ask for my hand in marriage. She thought my success was a prize she could still claim.
你上次退婚的事，你也没有同意，对吧？你还喜欢我，能不能跟我结婚？跟我结婚好不好？
The rejection from the girls was unanimous and beautiful. I didn't even have to waste my breath. Seeing her dragged away, screaming about being my true fiancé, was the perfect ending to her toxic drama. With the trash cleared out, the rewards started pouring in. Gold mines, nationwide real estate, and a whole army of gratitude. It turns out being a savior pays a lot better than being a mountain doctor.
小峰，阿姨有太多事儿要感谢你，没有你啊，就没有我们郑家。从今天起，郑氏集团董事长由你担任了。
They were practically fighting over who could give me more. I went from being a peasant to the most powerful man in Rongcheng in a single afternoon. Not a bad day's work. My mother-in-law didn't stop there. She officially handed me the keys to the Zheng Group. I was now the chairman, sitting on a mountain of wealth that would make even my master's eyes pop.
没有你啊，就没有我们郑家。从今天起，郑氏集团董事长 由你担任了。
I told them I'd take the money, but I wasn't going to be formal about it. It was time to head back to the mountains and show off my new fortune to my beautiful, enchanting master. I bet she won't believe I actually made it. On the way back, Xiaoyuan and I stopped at the place where it all began. It's funny how a misunderstanding about clothes and a slap in the face could lead to all of this. We've come a long way from that first meeting.
谁让你一见面就要脱我衣服的？不过还好遇见你了。
She was worried about whether my master would like her, but I told her it didn't matter. As long as I'm by her side, the rest of the world can think whatever they want. But I knew we weren't traveling alone. Rongcheng is safe, and I've got 3 beautiful women trailing behind me as I head home. But as I reached the peak, I realized the real challenge was just beginning. My master was waiting, and she didn't look like she was in a welcoming mood.
哎，师傅，你已经出关了，我还以为你还在闭关。
Master's back and her look could kill. Explaining 3 fiancés is my toughest fight yet.
哎，师傅，你已经出关了，我还以为你还在闭关呢。
I walked right into a beauty contest. Master Xuanji looked younger and more stunning than ever. The girls were paralyzed. They expected a wrinkled hermit, not a goddess who outshines them all.
上次有你帮我突破瓶颈，这次闭关倒也顺利，没几天就出关了。
But Master ruined the cool vibe instantly, bringing up our private training session in front of everyone. I had to shut her down fast. One more word, and these 3 would have buried me on this mountain. Then came the question I was dreading. Master looked at my entourage and asked if I'd started a harem.
罗儿，这3位，该不会都是你的老婆吧？
I scrambled to explain monogamy before a riot broke out. We're home, but with 3 fiancés and a master who's way too curious, the real struggle is just beginning. Can I survive this homecoming, or is the mountain about to get a lot more crowded?